We were trying to address the systemic issues. In fact, when it comes to the farmers, we were trying to understand what are the challenges, what are the constraints that farmers are facing, which actually we can remove, so that farmers can actually be more productive. So taking that approach, we wanted to address the source of the problem, especially in states like Meghalaya, where the population is highly dispersed, and they live in remote villages. So it's so important that how actually to connect them with the markets.
The major pain points of farmers was actually access to three things. One is connect to markets or market connect. Second was affordable logistics, and the third was information.
The main problem is that we need to take the farmers' produce to the markets, and they should be able to get the remunerative price, what actually the consumer pays for it, not the middleman pays for it. So we wanted to remove that middleman. It's a kind of a, because we wanted to entire disrupt the current system, where the middleman plays a major role. It has a direct relationship with like a kind of a 108. So 108 is again an emergency service, right? For farmers also, when they have to evacuate their produce, it's an emergency, because it's a perishable commodity. They need to sell it out, otherwise it causes so much problem for them.
The concept of iTEAMS was born out of an understanding based out of feedback over many years of developmental work by various departments. The focus is more on connecting farmers to markets and the ecosystem that goes around that goes into granting and enabling this access for farmers.
When we have applied to the Government of India for a toll-free number, so they are given options, what are the numbers available with them. So we picked up this number in 1917. It is Gandhiji did that Champaran Satyagraha to liberate farmers. So that way actually we felt it's a very it's a very fortunate to have this number. So that way the number was chosen.
And it stands for the Integrated Technology Enable Agri Management System, which is a ICT based technology platform that enables us to connect farmers with markets. Started off with two what we call agri response centers, or ARCs, one in Shillong and one in Tura. And these ARCs are basically call centers, and where we have people who our own people train. We have experts in agriculture, in livestock, in fishery, who man the center, who take calls from the farmers, who farmers just call this number 1917, and once they are registered, are able to access information more in the realm of knowledge, more about advisories and knowledge about how to carry out operations, package of practices, what to do in the event of disease and sickness of animals. A farmer calls up and then he is automatically linked to an ICO, whom we call an incoming call communication officer. And this communication takes place in the local language, which is Khasi and Garo. And also our ICOs are also trained to respond in Hindi and to a certain extent in Assamese. So iTEAMS has put in place an escalation system whereby if a farmer calls and says that I have this particular problem, and if our experts, level 1 experts sitting in the center, are not able to address, then this farmer is linked to a departmental expert. We have what are called agri response vehicles that have been onboarded through a public procurement process, which are entrepreneur owned. 1917iTEAMS gives leads to the owners and drivers of these vehicles for picking up produce, evacuation of produce, transportation of produce, and also links these vehicles with the farmers or buyers, depending on who wants to use the vehicles. 1917 iTEAMS, from the logistics part of it, also provides farmers with very affordable logistics, because the freight cost that 1917 charges from farmers is close to 50% less than lower than market rates. We also have a team of what are called dispatch officers who take care of arranging vehicles for farmers and buyers who want to avail of the services of the vehicles. We have an in-house developed fleet management system which tracks trips, vehicles, loads, and this is where we are able to tell and also ensure the safety and security of the produce that is being transferred. We register buyers, we register farmers, and farmers call 1917 and tell us about what kind of produce are they growing, whether they have produce to sell, how much of it are they selling. We also have registered buyers who let us know their requirements, that they're looking for this particular produce or the kind of quantity and what kind of price are they willing to offer. 1917 doesn't get involved in the financials of the transaction, which means it doesn't trade. We don't buy produce, and we also do not guarantee the quality or the quantities, because that is we believe that is best left to negotiations between the two parties. We have close to 70,000 plus, almost 80,000 farmers registered with us, and close to more than 350 buyers from all across the country, local, nationwide, and even from abroad. At the end of the day, when we look back on what has happened over the last 2 years, the acceptability of iTEAMS has gone up. Now we have farmers who, or in fact not only farmers, entire villages who are telling us, why are you not coming to our village? And we tell them, look, we are ready to come to your villages. The only thing you have to do is call 1917, register with us, and iTEAMS will come wherever you need it to come. National lockdown was announced on the 24th of March 2020. I remember we had a meeting with the team in iTEAMS, and where this question came up, that if the lockdown goes on for a long time, and with the closure of the major markets in the state, especially the main market of Yodo, how is it going to affect farmers?
So we already have a system, like there is a lot of confidence on the system also. Farmers know about this 1917 initiative. So and we already have a strong network of the entire farmers across the state. So that way it was easier for the government to use this 1917 to provide a lot of services during the COVID period.
1917 iTEAMS receive many calls from our registered farmers, and they were all having the same concern, and that was where to sell their produce. 1917 iTEAMS at that point of time was also caught unaware, because our buyer network had also become stagnant, because the markets have all ceased to exist. But then 1917 iTEAMS come up with a plan with them, and we told them that the government is facilitating the entry of essential commodities to all the restricted areas, so that people get their usual supply of ration and vegetables. So 1917 iTEAMS, with the help of our registered buyers, contacted all the farmers who at that point of time had called us with their ready to sell produce. And they made the contact, made the purchase, and came into the towns and all the urban areas where they could actually make the sale happen at each and every outlet, and at many makeshift shops that have come out at the roadside.
kini sekirang basnong kiskatrish nong kipun sya ka sya iti sahab kan ibadai ibapnya ketika itim kat kendai kat nyau te ipa ya ketika kali bak banwan sya kini kimer kecungi terso ngiyak balik de siapa polo gawan dah ketika kali kabawan dah ketika batok nambar kabarong kabasel kat kendai kat nyau kamot ubay kali uduna ngisngau ban ai kuble kan iti sarma ibla penja ibla yarap yi ban ai yang tikali ban ya ban de
ông bay han news nem the ammonia kon wanra ya ina jengai das dang yo mtoy yong ni khat khandai khan nyau yo luti lin ni chakmat man nang he hi thong yong ile de knang janang pen he chou ini gi khát khăn đầy khát nhau,วันปัจวันกะเลียวันเทียดวันเป็ดขนังอยู่แหกจริงตัวอย่างอีแต่กินนี่ประลอกอันอีกว่ายาทงลังอันและขนังอยู่ยาองเฮียกิจตุชนิดขนังอยู่ยาอิมตัวลัง
Marsen sedang kena ke lockdown mbak, tolong kini ki jur ki bangirem, te ulalong bahabar khoj, te ki ba paranong rep bar khoj kila ya leng am ba sano ben plek uni jur, te ha cing ya kut lat teng yala pun ke nyai nong mikmat ni, te ulap ha de kini ki item, te ngile yo cing mentoi sibun bahada kene ke item, menta long kat ke bangi don kam ngila yo cing mentoi ban pakit iki jur lene ban yo cing rap da ke bangi di kini ki jur.
แต่กุมภาพันธ์นี้กี่มันได้มันเรากุมมันเราเนี่ยมันโดนกันในกับล็อกดาวน์ทำตามกับเยี่ยวกับฮัดโรกับขังกี่กะลีกี่บักกิดบ้าบันเป็นป่วยกี่มาร์จงอีกนอรับใช้กี่เยี่ยวกี่ฮัดโรกี่คำเชื่อมชิตมให้เลยเรื่องบ้ากับโดนกันในกับไอทีมส์บ้ากินทิปหิมากินดองชะดองบ้ากระบายกะลีกระบายกระดากระบายกิดกระบายบ้าโรมาโซ่กับคำสติ้งให้บ้านเนี่ยกินในกะลีpublik ai burom ni pendak items ba kala plilat plilinti yang ikum kinograp ki ba don ki mar lagi long kendiat ni sibun ro kalerap sibun nam ta yang kinograp
hak tu ki sngi ki ba karak hamjur ko lockdown ki don ki tu kali ki ba ngi ngio i ki ban penkit ye ki mar ki blong ki jhur ki ba ngi ngirap ki ba ngi ring ka jing mutoi ki ba khrau ko long ba mar ka jing wan jung ki tu ki kali sarkar long ba ban yarap ban kit ye kini ki jhur ki jhap jungi kum tang lio ban lek di chaki yo bat ki wei pat ki shnong kum ra ter te ngi ai jing su nam ta jung ki nong yalam shnong jingi ram shnong ibala pli ngi kene galat kalti ban wanra kene ki jing toy na la ban di yomne ujhur jungi
ka itim ka yarap ai nong rep ban hakayau kahat pan penyedai bat ki nong tit ki dilar ki man nagowe gaya gari bat nagowe ga snong kai tim ningkong siap ngai thu ai tim naga tak kot khbor ngala pule bat ngayo ka kanikan kanambar ka khat khandai khat nhiều nga phun sya ai tim kat ke ai tim ki sap phun biang changa ki penyedai yang bat ki nong tit ki ba expert
Jadi yang untuk yang bertai juga item nak macam orang yang supply yang gimana rem kamu cemen kamu importer membawa juga item customer yang di nomor phone yang supply sekitar state kamu cakap Gujarat, Rajasthan, ada lagi dua hafal keluar, dua hafal kota. Mana berai pelai itu program kamu cici sepak itu mana berai.
So when 1917iTEAMS went into action at the start of the lockdown, this was during March and early April, we were in fact short of vehicles because we were getting requests for vehicles from all across the district, all across the state, and our vehicles were used to the maximum capacity. But 1917iTEAMS already have a database of all the cargo vehicle owners in the state. And what we did was we got in touch with them and we told them to actually give us their vehicle, or if they would like to join with us as market vehicle, whereby we will simply link them with potential users, be it farmers, be it buyers, who will be ferrying essential produce during the lockdown period. And all of them actually agreed. And during the span of 2 months, that is between April and May, we managed to enroll around 100 vehicles from the market, and these vehicles were deployed all across wherever there is a requirement, and they would actually charge at their own market rate, and they would pay the driver then and there.
These vehicles made close to about 700 trips, and I think have evacuated close to 750, almost 800 metric tons of produce during the entire lockdown period. A lot of our entrepreneurs and our partners like Cokes, like EG Floritech, then Sanglin from West Khas Hills, then Nokrek Maidan Transport Cooperative Society in Tura. This was where they came to the rescue, where they themselves went down to the villages, bought the produce from the farmers, paid the farmers, and then brought it to the consuming centers of Shillong, to Jawai, to Nongstoin, Tura, Nongpo, and then sold these vegetables to the locality shops and small-time retailers.
Okay, my name is Maki Donkol Bla. I'm a teacher by profession, and during this lockdown, I've had so many friends who are farmers from these areas. So what happened is that they came to me and asked for help, and that is to market their products. Due to the curfews and all, we have to get vehicles, we have to get the passes and all, but since this 1917 is there, through my friend who is in Garo Hills, who is a vegetable supplier there in Garo Hills, he's the one who contacted 1917 and helping me with the transportation to transport the goods from here to Garo Hills.
Kublai Shibun di badan box sedap nasional surublai hakman kong ngai kublai ka iTEAMS kabala erap inga hakini kipor kabala dep jong ka lockdown te lengba ka iTEAMS ngala lahi ban kamai kendiat soi ke dak jing erap jong iTEAMS ngala ya kendu Shibun gi nong rap bat ya kinong khai gi badan hayo te haban kong kendu ka iTEAMS nak bangai ya ki number ibarat ka iTEAMS kata haki pick up jongki tengah persang ban phun te masin phun hi nakaliang jongki ru kila kloi ban yarap yenga bat kumtang ala yo ka kali ban penon kam ban shau yo jor le nu mar baki nong rep kim penmi naki snong ki bofer kam tham sakani ka than boy te nakaliang junga ngasngo bomdon jinge hiru kasuk bha ban ya kontak lene ban ya kendu bat ki nong rep lengba ka jing yarap jong iTEAMS dak jing don jong iTEAMS kalong ka jing kui ki nong rep yang hiru bat ya ki nong khai ba don kam yo jor hayo.
To begin with, we used to read about this iTEAM in the newspaper, but have not had the opportunity to use the project until this COVID-19 happened. So when this COVID-19 happened, as we all know, everything shuts down. The farmer especially were at a loss. They don't know, they have their, and moreover this is the springtime where they produce a lot of vegetables. They have nowhere else to go. So that is where, when somebody introduced us to iTEAMS, they said, why don't you use these facilities? They are providing transportation to transport the farmer produce, and at a very cheap rate. And every time we need the trucks or the pickup, it's always readily available. The NGO itself doesn't have that kind of transportation. iTEAM is the only vehicle that we use. So we found that it has been very helpful, especially during this relief work that we are engaged to relieve the farmers.
Ngade pencingan lang nong ban te ngasong asa ne po lum duli musning hane ko lockdown menta te hajing terung kap kini ki iTEAMS ka khnai khanyo te ngilai rap sibun ki nong rap ki area jungi ki nong rap ki la phone kini ki khnai khanyo bat kilai ki number jungi bat ngikat bala ngilai le ban ikit ki jon ki nong rap bat ngithiet mangi bagi penyak yo sekidukan seki berkuat bantiet balang ba kini ki kali item so lihat bantiet ikimar tedang tu yon kit yon rak sini saka godown bagi stok mengi ne bat nang ne pat ni salum ni sarak sekidukan ki berkuat bantiet nangi tengah ngit skam ba haji rap jungi ro kinong rap bon ni area sini kile jumentai bat kila kamjuna ke jing tolong banyak ba syukut jur banyak babret kai.
Then we realized that Shillong city itself, our vehicles were not enough to cater to the needs of the different localities of Shillong, and that's where we tied up with East Khas Hills Milk Producers, District Milk Producers Union, or the Milk Union as we call it. So we tied up with NARI to utilize their home delivery network to start the delivery of vegetables to localities.
Because of the total lockdown in the state, we had to upscale activities from just 10 delivery personnel to around 30 delivery personnel. We upscale our delivery network from 20 vehicles to around 80 vehicles. And like on, even the number of personnel also keep on increasing day by day. So we had volunteers who came in and then volunteered to help us in the work, leaving aside their own business with whatever work they have been doing all along.
A lot of them volunteered to come to the packing center, to the Nari packing center in Moyong, where they were engaged in the work of sorting, packing vegetables and sending it out to the various localities, not only of Shillong, but then again to various villages in East Khas Hills and across the state. The distributors of Nari set up mobile kiosks, and these mobile kiosks were basically vans and pickups with carrying rice and oil and dal and sugar and also vegetables, and was stationed in these localities where people could then come and during the relaxation of curfew could then come and buy these commodities. So that was the beginning of the home delivery system, which then was brought under the umbrella of Mega Mart, where again another set of entrepreneurs came in and started the home delivery of essential commodities, as well as also home delivery of grocery items which people could order online. When the quarantine of Bethany Hospital happened after the death of Meghala's first index case, close to about 5,000 families were put under mandatory quarantine. And this was the time when we were again contacted and also tasked by the government to provide quarantine, the care provision or free provision care packages to the households, these quarantine households. That was the time when MIE, through its entrepreneurs of In-Town Solution, Infinite Solutions, Rockski MG and Cokes, the SAGs all got involved in this, primarily into the setting up of packaging, procurement, distribution centers, stock points. These stock points were able to source essential commodities in bulk, pack them, and ensured that these commodities were delivered to the quarantine families of the Bethany Hospital. Each care package at that point of time was comprised of 17 items, 17 essential items, including masks. Entrepreneurs and the SAGs of the MIE got involved in stitching cloth masks as per the guidelines. There was a feedback, we got a feedback that close to 18,000 returnees would be coming back, and that these returnees would be placed under mandatory quarantine. Again, the call went out to the stock points, to the entrepreneurs, and this is where the networks of iTeams, NARI, the networks built up by MIE, through the Megamart platform, the networks built up by MIE through its entrepreneurs spread across the entire district came to the rescue. And it was these entrepreneurs, these networks that actually ensured the successful and quick delivery of the care packages to the families of the returnees.
So iTeams during this lockdown had actually played a very important role, and we continue to play that role now also to facilitate families in distress, to facilitate families in quarantine along with MIE and NARI and the entire Megamart network. We were able to do this solely because of the trust that the farmers have in iTeams, of the trust that the ARV owners have with us, and of the trust of all the cargo vehicle owners have with us. And to the maximum extent possible, we have managed to deliver that trust to them. We have managed to give them the service that they were looking for.
iTeams was created to be a plug-and-play platform in the sense that it is neutral, it is agnostic of scheme or of domain. It operates equally in the domain of livestock and agriculture and horticulture or fishery, sericulture.
So I believe 1917iTEAMS as a model is here to stay. And as a model, we expect to play a very important role in the lives of farmers, to transform them and to help increase their livelihood on a day-to-day basis.
It has also been a source of employment for our youngsters, those with talent, with the new technology of computers. And one remarkable and noteworthy feature of this iTeam team was the great work that they had put in during COVID-19. It was very, very commendable that they were there all the time to take all the inquiries, distress calls that were being, farmers were phoning in from every corner of the state, and it helped to mitigate the woes of the farmer to a large extent, at the same time also giving the people, the public, the much needed vegetables, fruits. We were all starving for at that point of time.
As I mentioned, like so Uber for agriculture, it can be like an Amazon for both the producers and the consumers. So it has that potential, and maybe in future I think more and more collaborations or partnerships would come so that to strengthen this one, so that it can be used for exporting high value produce from the state, and it can be a very good trustworthy brand for the state to promote agriculture.
iTeams was modeled on the 108 model, which I also often say is that 108 saves lives, 1917 iTeams saves livelihoods.